guys, Laura here. I'm here today to do a top 10 Tuesday. You're actually gonna get a bunch of videos this week, which is super exciting. You're gonna get this video, my reading wrap up, and my TBR for September. And this topic of this week is books. You could kind of like base it whatever you wanted, but books that had to do with like a school. And I chose a boarding school because a lot of my reads tend to take place in boarding schools. But I also it's possible I'm going to be a theater teacher next week, so it's kind of apropos. So I'm going to tell you guys some of my favorite book series that involve boarding schools and some books on my TBR that also involve boarding schools. And hopefully you'll be motivated to pick them up. And if you have some more books, which I'm sure I've missed some, put them in the comments because I think that boarding schools and magic schools or schools in general are some of my favorite settings. So yeah, let's talk about it. First book really won't be a shock to anyone. And that's Harry Potter. Harry Potter was one of the first books I ever read that had a school like in it. And I just remember wanting I want to go to magic school. I want that to be my life. And I remember, Harry Potter is about so many other things, but I think especially in, the first 4 books, or, first 5 books, I would say, it really focuses a lot on the classes and the magic that they're learning and, the lessons that they learn. And I find that so interesting. I love magic systems. That's probably one of my favorite things about worlds, exploring the magic system and learning about the magic system. And Harry Potter's magic system is probably really, really easy, I would say. It's probably really simplistic. But I actually just really liked that they took place at a boarding school and you couldn't run away from your problems if you had fights with your friends like you can do in the real world. But I just really, really liked it. And Harry Potter will always be one of my first boarding school novels that I ever read, but also definitely one of my favorites. This book series I'm going to talk about is one that I don't talk about a lot, but it definitely is one of my favorite vampire series, and that is the Vampire Academy series. There is a school in that because Liv and Lissa both go to school. They both go to school for very different things, but I did like the dynamics in that. Lissa was basically going to school to be a guard, and I liked all that stuff, and also what Lissa had to learn. I thought that was really interesting. It was really interesting in the first couple of books. Again, as they got older, the series drifted away towards that, but in the beginning I really liked it. And I thought that it was a fun way to really craft a vampire world, because that's normally not a mythology that really needs a whole lot of explanation. But I thought that Rochelle Mead's world building, again, you needed to understand the magic or the system, and for that at a school it was super easy. So I also really, really like that school dynamic in that series as well. This is one that I contemplated not putting on this list, but Camp HalfBlood to me is a school, because, the demigods go there, and it just, also like Hotel Valhalla in the Magnus Chase series, again, it has a dynamic of a school, and I think that, some kids do stay there all year round, but it's a teaching environment, and I think that's super interesting, especially in the first couple of books. I would say especially in the Percy Jackson series. Not so much in the Heroes of Olympus series, but definitely in the Percy Jackson series. I think there's a lot of learning in the dynamics and going on quests and stuff like that really are bred in that school. So that's why I actually really like that. And also Hotel Valhalla, they're also training for Doomsday, basically. So it's another camaraderie and solving and fighting, and they have classes, they have underground, so it's a lot of classes, and I think that that's kind of interesting, and also find people to go on quests with, which is actually super fun. So those 2 environments are another school related environment that I really like when I read, and those are some of my favorite series, but I like those environments a lot. The next is Renegades by Marissa Meyer, and this was pitched to me as a superhero, a school for superheroes novel, and it does have elements of that, but I wouldn't say it's really about the school for superheroes. They just happen to live there. But I did like that, and I liked all the training and the becoming of heroes. I just wish it was a little bit more in that book, to be very honest. I wanted a little bit more, but I did like it, and I'm curious to see what happens in Arch Enemies that comes out in November. I will definitely be reading it and definitely giving you my full thoughts when it comes out. But I did like the dynamics that we saw in that, and I would have to reread it. It's been a while. But I remember thinking, oh, I wish that they played with that a little bit more. But what we did get, I definitely enjoyed, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading book 2, and hopefully it gets expanded on a little bit more. I am also in the middle of my first time ever reading the Grishaverse. I'm actually in the middle of Siege and Storm. I have 5 chapters left. And I like the hints of the Grisha school that we're seeing because Lena gets to go to kind of part of a Grisha school. And I do like that. I like that. I like their powers. Their powers are really interesting. And I wish like there was a book focusing on someone going through all the years because she kind of came to it kind of late. But I do like it. I like the elements that we got. And I do like the Grisha as like a group in general. So I'll be curious to see if we get any more of that in Rune and Rising, and what she becomes in future books. But actually, I do like the dynamics. Again, I wanted like a little bit more, but I know that that's like not the place for it because she's not technically in school anymore. But there was a lot of Shadow and Bone was spent her learning, which I thought was really, again, a really, really interesting dynamics. And I really enjoyed that. So I'm not done with that series yet, but so far, especially in Shadow and Bone and in Siege and Storm, I did like the dynamics that the school created for the lead character. The next book is a new young adult middle grade series that I read. I think I read it last year, but it came out this year. It's Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman. And I really, 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 really like this book. I thought it was so much fun, but here's a fun picture of the cover. Simple premise is it follows 2 twins, and you know, if anything about me, I love books that follow twins. I think that they're so fun to read. It basically follows a society where either you can turn into an ice wolf or you can turn into a scorched dragon, and you have to go to a school that corresponds with your transformation. And I thought the school dynamics were so fun, and these 2 twins go to 2 very different schools. Ultimately, that's basically what it is, and that's on the back cover, that they can turn into 2 different types of animals. I'm so excited for book 2 because book 2 you get to see the opposite side that you didn't get to follow in this book, which I'm really excited for. I think it's coming out early 2019, so definitely will have my eyes out for arcs in the winter. But yeah, definitely excited to dive into this book. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but definitely in the fall. Now, the next series contrasts totally with the other series, and the last one I'm going to mention that I actually have read, and that's the Torch Against the Night series, because there is a school in there. It is a very, very bloodthirsty school, and there's a lot of killing, and a lot of maiming, and a lot of bad things that occur, but it does have a school dynamic. And the book started off with Elias wanting to escape and not to become a mask, which I thought was like a really interesting dynamic, because I love Elias as a character. I think he's great. Sorry if I'm saying any of these name wrongs. The names always sound correct in my head, and they might be incorrect in real life, so I do apologize about that. I know I got a couple of the names wrong in this video, so I just want to apologize. Don't hate comment me. I apologize. But I actually do like the way that Torch Against the Night, Ember in the Ashes went, because I thought that the school dynamics were really prominent, and I think it also had a lot to do with morality and like what you want to be and what kind of person you want to be. But yeah, that was definitely a super interesting book with a super interesting school dynamic embedded in that. So yeah, I'm really excited to reread all that whole series and then finally read Brought the Gates, which is on my list for the fall. Be sure to check out my fall TBR. It's going to be massive. This book I'm gonna try about is a book that I read book 1, but I never wound up continuing, and that is the School for Good and Evil series by I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. I really did like that book. I don't think it was my favorite. I felt like it was a super long middle grade book, and I just struggled a little bit with like the pacing. I definitely want to read book 2 because I think I will like it, but I just struggled with the pacing a little bit. But I definitely liked how the world was crafted and how there was a school for good characters and a school for bad characters. And I thought like the classes were so fun. The dynamics between the schools were really good. There was a lot about friendship and just girl power. I just really liked it. But I thought that the school dynamics were definitely super interesting in that book as well. So I hope to continue reading eventually, maybe even soon. We will see. I have them in my room somewhere. Is totally on my TBR, and that is The Trials of Morgan Crowe. I've heard amazing things about this series. I so want to dive into it and read it. And yeah, that's it. I really know nothing about it, but I know that everyone that I know has loved it. And I also have Wizards of Once, which I think also is a school on my shelves. I have it right there. Because I think this video might be like 1 or 2 shot. And I did put it in my blog post, and I'm not totally sure if this does have a school in it, but the Poison Study series by Marie V. Schneider might have a school in it. I'm a little bit unclear about that. So there might be a school in that, or it might just be a world where she's taught to do something. Not really sure. But those are the books that I would like to read eventually that does have school elements in them. But yeah, let me know if I've missed any. I'm sure that I did, and I would love to add them to my TBR. So comment below. We can have a conversation in the comments. And I hope you guys like this video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.